Hey everyone, welcome to the Off the Mic Sports Network and the latest edition of the West Coast Best Coast Football Show. Here, your take inside the West Coast teams in college football. A wild weekend in the world of West Coast football and the former Pac-12 teams. A lot of interesting shifting, some upsets on the docket, and a lot of shifting and a lot of surprises for me personally. So let's run through the rankings so far. Utah loses to Arizona at home. Cam Rising doesn't play again, so they fall 8 spots in the AP poll to 18. USC moved up to 11 from 13 after coming back from 11 down at half to beat Wisconsin. Been incredibly impressed with Miller Moss and their defense. So USC up to 11, and Oregon after not looking terribly impressive in their first couple games have kind of shown us what they could be. A big win in Big Ten After Dark against UCLA, and they move up to 6 from 8. So there's your former Pac-12 teams that are in the top 25. Only 3 teams as well. Let me go through my 12-pack, not my 6-pack. My 12-pack. I'll run through these really quick. I got UCLA at 12. You just see it. They got smacked in the mouth by Oregon. This is not a very good team. They don't look very well coached, and you can just see the products of a staff that kind of got thrown together. Deshaun Foster, I just don't think he's ready to coach. Great guy, Bruin through and through, but this is you just see the coaching discrepancy. Really, it's just, and this team's just not. They're just not going to measure up and win a lot of games in the Big Ten this year. Stanford's at 11. They get smacked by Clemson last week. That's not surprising to me. This team's not going to win a whole hell of a lot of games in the ACC, but they did get a big win against Syracuse. That's a big win for Troy Taylor. We'll see where this team goes moving forward. I got Oregon State at 10. I've got Arizona State at 9. Arizona State, it's been a rough go for them since starting off the season 3-0. I like Kenny Dillingham, but it's just this team's very young with a young quarterback. I just don't anticipate them doing very well in this Big 12, a loaded Big 12 conference. I got Washington at 8. They fall to Rutgers, and they should have won this game, man. Missed field goals, going for it on 4th down. They just didn't. They should have won the game at Rutgers on Friday night in front of everybody. And instead, Washington, because of their own self-inflicted wounds, they're a 2-loss team, and it's not getting any easier. They welcome in Michigan this week, and they better win that game. They're let's get real. We never expected Washington to really contend for the Big Ten in year 1 under Jed Fish, but to lose the 2 games that they had in the manner that they have, I had to drop them all the way down to 8. It's unfortunate. Cal, I've got them at 7. They were idle, but they get a massive opportunity this week. They welcome in Miami. It'll be ACC After Dark and game days there, which is making history. The first time that Cal will host game day. I like this team. I like Jade Knott. Frankly, I would not be surprised if Cal beat Miami this week. The strange things happen in that late window, and with game day there, a lot of energy there. This is one of the biggest games Cal has had in a long, long time. So I listen, Cal. I've been saying it. Cal, hey, they faltered against Florida State. They've had a week to think about it, and like you said, you welcome in a top 10 team into your place. You have game day there. It's ACC After Dark, even whether it's ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, anything that happens after dark, weird shit happens. I dropped Washington State to 6. They got smoked by Boise State. Ashton Jeanty is just a different beast. Frankly, it's between him and Travis Hunter right now for the Heisman. Right now. Those are the 2 most impressive players that I've seen this year. 2 most impressive players. Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe are right there. But I would say that Travis Hunter and Ashton Jeanty are there. And Ashton Jeanty just made a mockery of Washington State's defense. He's made a mockery of a lot of defenses this year. So I got Washington State at 6. I moved Colorado all the way up to 5. I was really down on this team for the last couple of weeks. But they go to UCF. UCF was unranked, but UCF was a 14-point favorite at home. And Colorado destroyed them. Absolutely destroyed them. Travis Hunter was great. The skill position players were great. The defense played great. They ran the ball. All these concerns that I had about Colorado, they answered them. And they don't play this week, but then they get Kansas State. And if they win that game against Kansas State, which is at home in Boulder, there's going to start being a conversation. Can Colorado win the Big 12 and go to the college football playoff? I'm serious. I've turned a corner on this team. And it's like, I may not like how they do business, man, but they're winning now. And when they're winning and they've got that belief, and they're not, and like they're on their emotional high, they're hard to beat, man. And like I said, that Baylor game lit a fire in them, and then they go down to Central Florida and they win that game, not just close. They destroyed a really good UCF team, a pretty solid UCF team, even though they're unranked. But that's a really well-coached football team with Gus Malzahn there. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me. I moved Arizona up to 4. That beating Utah at Utah, really impressive. Noah Fafita was fucking outstanding in that game against Utah. Yes, Utah was hamstrung offensively, but Arizona made it happen on the road. I really like this Arizona team. Their talent, and I love their coach. So they're at 4. I drop Utah. I keep Utah in front of them just because I know where this Utah team could go, and something like this was going to happen to them at some point in the season if Cam Rising wasn't going to be there. They need Cam Rising if they want to go to the place that they want to go. But I have Utah in front of Arizona right now just because of what I've seen throughout the season. And I think one result isn't going to really change a lot of things. I've got USC at 2. Very impressive come-from-behind win against Wisconsin. They go to Minnesota this week, and then they get Penn State, which could go a really long way into determining if USC is a playoff team or not, because they already have a loss in conference, but they get the Penn State game at home. That's a chance for them to really send a message to the rest of the Big Ten teams that, hey, we can compete for a championship or a Big Ten championship and ultimately maybe get one of those at-larges in the college football playoff. And then I've got Oregon at 1. I really like this team. They looked really impressive. They get Michigan State on Friday night, which is a very exciting opportunity for them. Jonathan Smith coming back to Eugene, which will be interesting. I thought all along Oregon was the best team out of these former Pac-12 schools. The quarterback is outstanding. The skill position players are outstanding. The defense is starting to come into form as well. But they're going to get tested this week a little bit. They should really have a pretty. They should be able to beat Michigan State pretty handily. But Michigan State will give them a run for a little bit, and then it's the big game, man. It's Ohio State, Oregon at Autzen. The game everybody's been looking forward to. That's really going to be another key point in the Big Ten. Like you said, you got USC, Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State the same weekend in this conference. That's crazy. So, but I got Oregon at 1. So, and then let's quickly run through these games. Friday night, Syracuse at UNLV. UNLV with Hajj Malik Williams. They no wonder they didn't want to pay Matt Sluka $100,000. I got UNLV beating Syracuse. Barry Odom, man, has been doing an incredible job at UNLV. Through all of the allegations, they go out there and they just actually destroy Fresno State last weekend. Michigan State at Oregon. I got Oregon winning this game. Michigan State's been a nice story. Jonathan Smith's been a little bit ahead of schedule. But Michigan State's starting to play some tougher teams. They got smoked by Ohio State. This could be, maybe a little bit interesting for about a quarter, and then I think Oregon and their talent is just going to win out over Michigan State. So I got Oregon winning that game. UCLA goes to Penn State. This is the big noon game on Fox. UCLA, man, has been getting some high-profile slots. They were at LSU. Now they're at Penn State. Listen, Penn State's got a big game ahead in LA against USC next week. I don't think they're going to be looking ahead. I think Penn State just destroys UCLA. And the Big Noon has really just been not benefiting from, having great games in their window. But, hey, you get a big-time team in Penn State, top 10 team, facing off against the UCLA. It should be interesting to see UCLA go to Happy Valley. But, yeah, I just don't see this going very well for UCLA. Virginia Tech going to Stanford. Virginia Tech should have won against Miami. They had the lead. Whether the controversial no catch was there or not, it doesn't really matter. But, they got a good quarterback in Kyron Jones. And I just, listen, Stanford's, they're just not as talented as a lot of these upper tier teams in the ACC. So I think Virginia Tech gets him on the farm this weekend. So that's obviously going to stuck. I really like Troy Taylor. I just think that, well, they go to face a team like a Clemson, like you saw that they're very limited. Virginia Tech's like middle of the road ACC team, but then you saw they almost beat Miami, so I think that might carry over for Virginia Tech, and they go to Stanford and win. Colorado State going to Oregon State. Colorado State going to Oregon State. I think Oregon State will win. I really like the way they're being run by Trent Bray. Their defense is playing pretty well, and their run game with Jam Griffin and Anthony Hankerson has been really impressive. So I would take Oregon State to win that game. Colorado State has just not looked good with some of the talent that they have on their roster, even though they're coming to join the Pac-12. Then two new Pac-12 teams facing each other, Utah State at Boise State. Good luck to Utah State trying to stop Ashton Jeanty. This guy, 845 yards and 13 touchdowns in 4 games. And he didn't even play, and it's really 3.5 because he didn't play half of the game against Portland State. Boise State's going to win this game going away. It's just a matter of how many yards and how many touchdowns does Ashton Jeanty get in this game. So good luck to Utah State. Boise State's going to win. USC going to Minnesota. Minnesota's been pesky, and they got screwed on an onside kick against Michigan. Minnesota's been in games for the most part. Listen, USC, yes, this is going to be an interesting little road trip for them going to Minnesota, but I really like the way that this defense has played really well. Miller Moss has been getting hit a lot, but he's been tough as shit. I would take USC to win that game on the road at Minnesota. Michigan going to Washington. Washington's let a couple of these get away. This feels like a big opportunity for them. And we'll see what Steve Belichick's defense can do to stop the predominantly running quarterback in Alex Orji, and see if they can stop this Michigan running game. I'll take the Huskies at home to win this game and get a big, marquee, a big marquee win for them in prime time. I'll take Washington to win that game. Kansas at Arizona State. Kansas, one of the more disappointing teams in the country. They were really hyped up with Jalen Daniels. They go to Arizona State. This is not a very late kick, but it's a later kick. I'll go with Arizona State here. Kansas has just been really, I don't know what happened to them this year. Like, they've just lost a ton of games. They've been kind of getting run over by teams. So I would take Arizona State to win this game. San Diego State and Hawaii. Like I said, I don't have too much in-depth knowledge on this, but I would lean San Diego State in this game. It's really exciting to actually see that this program on a basketball front is going to join. Also, Gonzaga. We'll talk about that briefly here in just a second, even though this is a football show. But San Diego State, I got them beating Hawaii. Miami at Cal. I'm going to lean into that ACC After Dark claims a victim, and I think Miami falls here. There's just going to be a point with Mario Cristobal. I've learned this from covering him when he was at Oregon. I just don't trust him in these big game spots. And, you have a game day spot there. This is the biggest game that Cal has played in a really long time. In terms of, national attention, top 10 team coming into your place. It's going to be juiced. It's going to be as energized as Memorial Stadium has been there at Cal in a long, long time. So I'll take the Bears, man, to win this game. Shout out to my guys Roxy Bernstein and Shane Bahrain. Go Bears. And then Texas Tech at Arizona. Sorry, Andrew. Texas Tech has been a little bit of a disappointing team this year under Joey McGuire. I really like this Arizona team. I think Arizona wins Big 12 After Dark against Texas Tech there. Really quickly, Gonzaga going to the Pac-12. I know this is a football-based show, but still we talk about the Pac-12 and the former Pac-12 teams on here. From a basketball perspective, that's about as big of an addition as you're going to get. And this is shaping up, the Pac-12 is, to being a pretty damn good basketball conference with, Boise State coming in, San Diego State coming in, Gonzaga coming in. You still have Washington State and Oregon State, who have been, not as great near the top of the crop in the Pac-12, but, they've got really solid coaches. And, yes, Kyle Smith leaving Washington State and them having to go to a different, a new coaching staff is a little bit different. But Wayne Tinkle took this, whether it was a COVID season or not, he took Oregon State to the Elite Eight a few years back. So, but getting Gonzaga and that program in 2026 is just a massive, massive addition for the Pac-12 and what they're building. So that's a huge, huge deal. Needed to mention that here before we go. A lot of great football content. We'll have basketball content coming on here as well as the NBA season, college basketball starts to get here. Obviously, postseason baseball coming up as well. A lot of exciting stuff going on here on the channel. Off the mic 28 on Twitter if you want to follow me. OT Mike Sports if you want to follow the channel. Hit that subscribe button below this video so you can get more great videos like this one. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye-bye.